Are we going to have fun today? I mean, I'm not Rory McIlroy, so I'm not going to have that kind of fun. What a Masters. What a roller coaster on the back nine. We'll get into that a little bit as I am a golf girly. But the NFL draft, it's here, finally. Thank goodness. I've done my best to introduce you to some of these prospects. We have two on the show today. I had Daniel Jeremiah on of NFL Media. We are really up in the ante around here. We want to get you the best info ahead of the draft. Joel Klatt of Fox Sports. You see him all over Fox Sports college football. He's an amazing analyst. He'll be at the big desk trying to figure out what is going on as it happens in Green Bay and as we get closer to those picks. It's an exciting time. It's a positive time for everybody. Optimism abounds. So I love this time of year. We are headed to Green Bay. I think we should talk about that at some point with Matthew Hamilton, but we do have a couple of All-American draft prospects on the show too. Georgia safety could go top 10. Malachi Starks on the show. What should I ask him, guys? Tweet me, text me. Well, don't text me. Please don't text me. But will he be the top safety off the board next week? I don't know. We also have SMU running back Brashard Smith. What does he have to do with Eric Dickerson? Let's get into it. Don't text me. I say, lots to get to on the show. Joel Klatt is here, Fox College analyst, Fox Sports. I'm going to say bigwig. That's a big marquee name for this program. Matthew Hamilton, very excited to have him. And we're going to ask him about Nico, I think front and center. I want this, this Nico situation. Quarterback out of Tennessee, he wants millies, he wants out. Who's to blame? What does it mean for the game? I don't think it's that I'm pretty harsh on these kind of things. You created a monster, and I'm pro player. I'm pro player as usual.
Yeah, I mean, we want to see players get paid, and especially when there's a lot of money involved. So, love that stance. Definitely, going to be interesting to see the ripple effect this has on the game. Interested to hear Joel's thoughts there.
How much does Rory get paid for winning the Masters? It's $4 million, I think. Anybody know?
A whole lot. Yeah,
Is that a lot in golf? I don't even know. What is some? Yeah, could someone look up
I
how
saw
much?
it was the highest purse at the Masters ever.
How many millions? I want to know. Welcome to our show, everybody. Malachi Starks on the
4.2.
program, top safety up the board. Yeah, so four plus. Love that for him. Love that for him. There are people who said, like, I never liked Rory, but I loved him. Like, was he polarizing going into this, Hammy? I don't even know.
Yeah, somewhat, but I mean, you have something like this happen now, and this is golf immortality, becoming just the sixth player to ever complete that Grand Slam. It's undeniable now that he's one of the greatest to ever do it.
I have a couple of ways to get to DeChambeau. So I was like trying to I was keeping track of it, of course, to be like, I got to get him on the show. Who knows him? I knew some people. I got no access to this Rory. I got no way to him. I don't know how to get him on our program eventually after he, of course, celebrates with Poppy and with everybody and, achieving this that only Tiger has achieved. Really a special day. And against the live guy, when all I knew about Rory going into this thing really in the past year was like, he's the PGA guy. He's like, he's the purist. He's the golf guy. So happy for him. Happy for everybody. Happy for golf. What is this going to do for golf going forward? Love that. As I'm a golfy girl, getting in at the right time and things are great. Masters, just beautiful. Favorite part, of course, it was the anti-Coachella. Everyone at the Masters had a good time. I don't know one person complaining about anything at the Masters, and no phones. And it wasn't about being seen or being whatever. People weren't creating content left and right. Very few people were doing that. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see the no phone panoramic shots. Like, I could not have loved it more. We have not heard applause like that collectively in 30 years. I don't think since the onset of the Nokia phone and the texting having to hit the 2 key 7 times to get to the beat.
No, it was awesome to see that, like, everybody being in the moment. We do have to get Jordan Spieth. I have a question we have to ask Jordan Spieth too at some point about something he did that went viral. I'll send it to you in break. But yeah, that was the one thing I think that came out of that
What
that
did
went a
he
little
do?
bit viral. But
You can't do that.
he had a special greeting for somebody on his way to the course. Let's just say.
Like, when is Happy Gilmore 2 coming out?
This summer, right? I think.
So, like, do you
July.
have, if
Yeah.
Rory's not already in it, maybe he is. And this is complete. Like, do you have to like
I,
do an edit and get Rory in it? You almost have to. You literally
well,
almost have to
I,
get him in
s-
the movie now.
I saw a congratulatory post from Sandler, so I feel
Yeah,
like that might be saying something. And he had the Happy Gilmore putter, Rory. He was posing with it at one point, so I feel
yeah.
like something's coming there.
We need Will Zalatoris out of that edit, and we got to get the winner of the whole thing in there. What? Oh, we have the speed thing, which
But
means
yeah,
it's not
I,
inappropriate.
I don't know that we.
All right, all right.
It's somewhat inappropriate. Yeah.
What did he do? Is it?
He gave that guy a little tap on the way. I want to know who this person is. If this was intent, which it
Oh,
100%
in
looks
his
intentional. But
balls.
yeah,
Hit him in the balls. He must know.
yeah.
He knows him.
So we got to get friend of the show Jordan Spieth back here to break this down for
It's
us.
just like who that is. That
That's
went
all I want to
viral.
hear this morning. Oh yeah,
That went viral.
yeah,
That's why these things are great because there's no cameras doing anything, and so like the moment that you have to look, you have to actually watch.
yeah.
Imagine if at Coachella you couldn't bring your phone. What an enjoyable experience that would be.
Sure.
Okay, we're getting pushed, which we should because we have so much to get to. I can't believe we have these three guests:
Yeah.
Joel Klatt, Brashard Smith, Malachi Starks on the program. Yeah, great Grand Slam vibes. We're happy for you. To our hopefully at some point friend of the show, Rory McIlroy. Okay, we have more exciting news this week. Okay, NBA play-in tournament starts tomorrow. I'm gonna put together a parlay. I'm an NBA girly. I was at the game in Phoenix. I can't believe that was just a week ago. So we've got Grizzlies Warriors. That could be a conference finals matchup. We're getting it, incredibly off. They're letting it rip tomorrow night. Warriors, by the way, if you're looking at FanDuel Sportsbook, 7-point faves as of this morning. We're going to put a parlay. Steph, of course, Perchester, going to be in there. Ja. I mean, if the Warriors, Hamilton, tell me if I'm wrong. If the Warriors get in there, it's because of me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they seemed to kick things up to another level last Tuesday night with you.
They got their confidence back. There was some poor shooting. I was listening to some podcasts before that. Now I'm a big fan of that Jimmy Butler. All these things are happening, and it's if they go far, it'll be because I was at that game with Chester and that young Polish man who was just I don't even know, John Stockton 1992ing himself to greatness among all Warriors. Okay, NFL side of things, I know we're getting there. Joel Klatt, guys, give me some questions for him. The biggest story came out of New Orleans. Who knew? Derek Carr dealing with a shoulder injury, and it might be really serious. It might keep him out for an entire year. Now, this is a man who has battled through a ton of injuries since he got to New Orleans 2 years ago. So we first and foremost wish him the best. He's an all-around great guy, and he is given his all and his best. We should learn more, but this changes things. Who was saying Shador to New Orleans should happen? And it might happen. He might not sit there till 21 or whatever for the Steelers to snatch him. I was saying, how great would it be if Shador was there at 9 to the Saints? Might have to now make a move and trade up to get him, because that has to be the plan with what's going on with Derek. It does depend, of course, on how they view a guy like Jackson Dart. There's some interesting rumors about him going before Shador out there in the world. Joel Klatt, the perfect person to dispel those. But if they view him as being neck and neck with Shador, maybe the urgency isn't there. But if they fell in love with him, they might have to get aggressive and make that happen. You can't let the Steelers swoop in if they fell in love with him in that meeting. We saw, of course, the smile from Pittsburgh International Airport, us being the first stop by Shador Sanders to talk to him and get his vibes, and he said it was a 10. He liked it there. He likes Tomlin. They got to get their franchise quarterback. By the way, a week ago that the Saints took over as the favorite to land Shador, odds plus 270. They're all the way up to plus 105 after the Derek Carr news. If you paid attention and got in on Shador and the Saints last week when I told you to at plus 270. I want to hear from you. I want to see those bet slips. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. Enough with nut taps and green jackets. We're going to get to Joel Klatt of college football fame. We're going to talk Nico. We're going to talk Shador. Maybe we'll even ask him what to ask Malachi Starks. Sorry. Oops.
Oh. I mean, all good. I brought it up. I should have known better.
What else can I tell you about? Yeah, I liked hearing all the master stuff. I wish I should have gone. My thing is, as you know me, I would never have stayed through Sunday.
Oh yeah, no
I would
chance.
never. I would never have stayed through Sunday. Did
An
Will?
NBA preseason game, you would have stayed for the whole thing, but Masters playoff down to the wire. Yeah, you're out.
Did Will not was he not at a great finish?
No, he didn't. He didn't make the cut.
I heard Spieth was saying something
First
about
time.
like mud or something. What was Spieth saying after the? Did you see that? Look that up.
I
Friend
didn't
of
see
the
that.
show, Jordan Spieth. He was saying, it was what I say. I'm not going to say it on. I love listening to golfers when it doesn't go their way. It is my favorite. Like I should put it on the vision board. Yeah. Something was wrong. I don't quite know what it was.
The mud balls.
Yeah, what is that? I don't even know what that is. I haven't gotten there in my
I don't know.
Golf for Dummies book.
Oh, there we go.
Do we have time? Okay. I don't know if we need to start with that. Is there a question about old Rory? I saw one thing. There was like an older gentleman who like didn't make the cut for the first time in like 20 years, and he like had his granddaughter. I was like, this is so crazy.
Yikes. So,
Nico,
yeah,
popular name this week.
Yeah, Nico, a very popular name this week. Glad we got clarification there too.
Funny. On the call this morning, what did I ask? Why were they yelling Nico's game at the Mavs game, Mavs Lakers? Why were they yelling his name? What connection does he have to the NBA? I'm smart.
Reading all about mud balls now. Let's go.
Sorry?
So no, I'm reading all about mud balls now.
Over the middle, Carr. Miller, high stepping at the 5, touchdown. But I want you to watch the throw because it's over the linebacker and yet in front of the corner who goes over the top. That's called a layered throw. A next level NFL throw from Shedeur Sanders.
And that's called a great play call by Joel Klatt, someone here to make me smarter. Former Colorado record-setting quarterback, Fox Sports lead college football analyst and UFL analyst. Of course, Joel, how are you? You're a golf guy too, I hear.
I do love golf. I was locked in yesterday. I'm doing great. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, Kay.
Well, thanks for, are you kidding me? You're like you're my Encyclopedia Britannica, all things draft. Before we get to that, what was your takeaway? Were you rooting for Rory? Maybe put into context for somebody who's a casual fan. What does this mean for the sport, for him?
Yeah, so regardless of sport, I tend to root for history. I want to see history, and so I was rooting for Rory during the course of the day, and it was the most bipolar round of golf that you've ever seen. So for instance, he hits this little wedge shot on the 13th hole into Rays Creek, and I'm just here to tell you, a 15 handicap probably hits the green from where he was 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times. It was probably the worst shot that he's ever hit in his life. And yet to overcome that and still go on to win, that was pretty cool. I was locked in. That was riveting television because of the nature of the up and down kind of bipolar round of golf that he played.
And I love the Twitter discourse of I could do that, and I will look making fun of all the shots.
That one really is that one was mind blowing.
Weird.
I was off the couch. I was almost on my hands and knees. What just happened?
It was a beautiful thing. I think it's great for golf, and it was historical, like you said. And we root for history, or do we? Right? This Nico situation, the Tennessee quarterback, that could be historical or precedential. in a way. It's all the rage. I listened to the Joe Klatt show this morning, and you really eloquently laid out both sides. I love that. But what side are you on?
I'm on the side of college football growing to a point where we've got structure and rules and guardrails in a place where this isn't an issue.
Yes.
So to me, Kay, it's really not about this instance as much as what happens moving forward from this particular instance, because this is not unique. And I said on the show, I'm surprised that it hasn't been that there hasn't been a more public facing dispute like this yet. And this is just the first time that both the school and the player drew a line in the sand and said, like, we're not willing to cross that line. The spring transfer portal, there's two transfer portals if you're unfamiliar with college football, one right after the season in January, and then one right after spring football, that we're about to experience. And what happens in the spring transfer portal is basically one of two things. A player is unhappy with his playing time and wants to transfer, or he wants more money and then transfers in order to get more money. And what happens is that either parents and or agents that are responsible for these players in college go and they shop their player around college football. Now, it's been reported, although I don't want to say the names, but that there was a very high-profile coach that tipped Tennessee off, that Nico and his people were out basically shopping him around, which led Josh Heupel to confront him and so on and so forth. Now, I also know, and I said this in my show as well, Kay, it's not just about money. Like, what's being reported is very one-sided at this point. Nico Iamaleava did not just all of a sudden say, I want $1.5 million more and I'm willing to leave because of that. There is more at play, but we're not going to hear that side of the narrative because Nico is a one-man band right now with no PR behind him. And Tennessee is a giant operation with an entire fan base, an entire PR and SID department. So they're going to set the narrative, which has now been set, that this kid wanted more money and he was willing to leave because of it. There's more at play. There's always more at play. And again, let me just go back to kind of the first part of the answer. And I know I'm always long-winded, so I apologize.
No, it's
my
great.
My hope is that instances like this drive our sport forward so that we can create what is very simple in my estimation, which is mutually agreed upon rules that then are enforced. That's what we have in the NFL. That's what we have in every league. And we need that in college football.
Like, if you could go in there, Joel, like, what is the simple solution? What's the rule? Well,
so the simple solution is what I just laid out. The hard part is finding those actual guidelines and guardrails. What are they? The reason that it's been hard throughout the history of college football to find consensus on what the rules should be and how to enforce them is because there's too many cooks in the kitchen. You got every chancellor and you got every president and conference commissioner and so on and so forth at the table, and you got to get them all to agree on one set of rules, which is impossible. It's like 1,000 people trying to turn the Titanic. You got 1,000 people with their hands on the steering wheel. The ship is going to go straight and it's going to hit 18 icebergs. So we need less people in charge or less people with power, and that's starting to happen. Now, I danced around your question. Here's what I believe should happen is that there needs to be one transfer portal window throughout the year.
Oh.
And the way that we operate in college football needs to mimic every other professional league, although everyone wants to shy away from the word professional. So, like, imagine for a moment, Kay, you deal primarily in the NFL and you do a great job, obviously. Imagine for a moment that free agency popped up the same week of the first round of the NFL playoffs.
No, like, I can't fathom how dumb that would be. That would suck.
Of course.
For me.
Of course. Imagine for a moment that we had OTAs and then a second round of free agency.
No.
Yeah, well, imagine for a moment
Yeah.
that none of the contracts meant anything whatsoever, and every player could just shop himself around at any point. Well, obviously, that's all crazy. So what do we need?
Yeah.
We need a calendar that reflects a better way to compete, build a roster, and then prepare for the season. And all three of those areas or sections of time need to be separate from one another. And whatever those time periods are, they need to be separate from one another. And then the last thing would be the contracts that these players are signing, in particular as we move into the area of revenue sharing need to be concrete, and they need to be have some teeth on the other end so that there are penalties for breach of contract.
What's his market? Is he going? I've heard that he gets interest from like, there's 3 teams. What's his market?
Go ahead. I think West Coast. He's a West Coast guy. He can't go to the SEC because you can't transfer and be eligible right away in the SEC. So he's leaving that conference. So it leaves basically, if you want to stay in either the Big Ten or the SEC, you can't go to the SEC. You want to stay in one of those conferences, and you want to be on the West Coast. So it basically leaves those 4 Big Ten West Coast schools: Washington, Oregon, UCLA, or USC. He's from Southern California. I would be pretty surprised if he doesn't land at either USC or UCLA.
Is there any chance he not how do I say this? Like the way that I thought of this when I was reading the story this morning, I was like, is he sure there's a market for him? What does it mean if he doesn't have a market for him? But that's unlikely.
I think that's unlikely. I don't think he would have dug his heels in from his side unless there was a market for him. And regardless if he gets the full asking price, someone's going to be out there, because remember, like, this is an irrational market. It's not like the NFL where, if you're commanding or want more than what the market is going to pay, then you're just not going to be in the league. That's not the case in college, because some booster is going to be like, well, I want that guy in my uniform. So the emotional nature and the irrational nature of the college market, he'll land somewhere. Like I said, I think it's going to be at one of the 2 Southern California schools, and what the amount is, who knows? He is a very good player. I do think that there was some talk from his camp about wanting the offense at Tennessee to change a little bit. Because that offense in its nature does not prepare you well for the National Football League. It's basically the old Baylor offense from Art Briles, and we have not seen a quarterback succeed going from that particular offense into the next level.
So it's more about just money, everybody.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But you're not going to hear that because the narrative is going to be set from the Tennessee side.
Understood. And then, I hope it all ends up great for everybody. Thanks for all that knowledge this morning. Shedeur Sanders. I just went over the news about Derek Carr. I've been saying, man, it would be really nice if he ended up with the Saints. You have him mocked right now going 3 to the Giants in your mock draft 2.0. Excited to see the new versions of that. I talked to Shedeur for the first time last week. One thing that I thought was interesting, and I guess we can just start with the Saints there. Do you like that fit in New Orleans? Is there something to like about the New Orleans fit more than the Steelers' potential fit if he falls that way?
Hard to know, because obviously you're going through a transition in New Orleans from a coaching perspective. So it's hard to really put a finger on that. Now, playing for an offensive-minded coach, I think, would be solid for him. One thing that I think about Shedeur, and I would love your thoughts on this, is what you hear about Shedeur and then what you experience when you talk and meet with him are 2 different things. And he's incredibly personable, very intelligent, team-oriented. He's tough. That's the one thing. You can't question his toughness. You can't question his accuracy. And in the day and age in college football, and I think that, I think people that are more NFL people are starting to realize this. Every offense in college scripts winners for their quarterback. So it's hard to find tape and find a guy that has been asked to sit in the pocket and read things out to 2, 3, 4 in the progression. It's really hard. He's been asked to do that by Pat Shurmur in that offense. So his transition, I actually think, is going to have less volatility than maybe some other players that try to transition to the National Football League. I do like his fit in New Orleans, but I just think the Giants have to have an answer at quarterback. Whether it's their first pick in the first round or whether it's their next pick in the second round, and I think Cleveland's in that boat as well. Those 2 teams have to find a quarterback, and because of that, I don't think they're both going to pass in the first round, because if they do, they are gambling, because someone will pick up Shedeur, whether it's Pittsburgh or New Orleans. And then all of a sudden you're stuck, if you will, with like maybe just Jackson Dart, because after Jackson Dart, there's really not a quarterback. So are New York and Cleveland really willing to like roll the die and sit there and wait to the second round. I don't think that that's the case. I think
tough
one of them
decision
is
for Dable
and
and Shane. That's a tough little time they're having there at 3. I would say this about just quickly about Mike. I got him for like 12 minutes, Shador. And in those 12 minutes, I asked him, if obviously accuracy is your superpower, what's your second one? And I thought he'd say toughness. I went on and on about how he stands in the pocket and takes it. And there's hits I'm no expert, but everything that I've seen, I'm like, you're about to get hit and you take it. That's going to go. I know the NFL and I know how far that will take you as a rookie leader. I would also, and he said it was his decision making, which I thought was really well said. And I will say he was at the airport. He had his hood on. He was being so low key. He just left the Pittsburgh facility and he was around tons of people trying not to be seen, to be respectful of me and my, not the ideal situation he would have wanted for an interview. And the amount of crap and just like people with their comments about his hood, and that is why I love him, because there was no reason for him to get that. And he was getting it. I don't think any other player that could have shown up that way. Nobody cared about the context. Everyone just made a judgment. Like, take your hood off. That's disrespectful. Or he's not speaking loudly. Like he took the time at an airport, 3 seconds out of his huge day with Tomlin and the Steelers to talk about it. And that moment, that's, everyone is so critical and I hate everyone for that. And so I champion him.
I mean, I have a hood right now. I might just in solidarity go hood up.
You know what? I'm going to put one, but it was so like obvious. Like, and I wish I could get through it, but you can't. And he actually understands. The energy I got from him is he's like, I'm here. I'm confident. One thing that he said that I thought was interesting, and I want to move on from him a little bit, but you have so much to talk about in so little time. He did say, and he used the words slowly fading away. I was trying to compare, Dion to Tomlin a little bit. He said that he's slowly fading away from Dion. He hadn't even talked to him that day. I was like, what'd your dad say? Did he ask you questions? What do you think of that regarding him sort of like leaving the nest?
I mean, he's going to need to, because I think Dion is such a large presence. He commands the room, the space, the narrative at all times, partly because he demands it and partly just because people are interested in him. It is time for Shador to go and branch off and be his own, but he has been his own. And I've been closer to this than most, being a Colorado alum. And I was involved in the hiring process, and I know intimately how bad Colorado was before they got there. And as crucial as it was to get Dion there, I think the key to their turnaround and success the last 2 years wasn't technically Dion, it was Shador. And this is what I think is lost, because everyone gravitates to kind of the giant gravitational pull of Deion Sanders and Coach Prime. Is like Shador was actually the key. It wasn't Travis, and it wasn't Coach, it was Shador. Why did they turn around to a 9-win team and a top 25 team 2 years after being a 1-win team that lost by an average of almost 30 points? Shador Sanders. So that gets lost a little bit. And what I hope that he takes from his dad, all of his time with his dad throughout his life. Do you remember the answer Dion gave in a press conference? And he said something along the lines of, and forgive me because I'm probably going to butcher it, but he said something along the lines of, what about me makes you think that I care about what you think about me?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's exactly what a quarterback needs to have, in the NFL, and in particular Shador, who I think is going to draw the ire of some just because of his last name.
Yeah. And his last, his dad was a multi positional player, of course. And you just mentioned Travis Hunter, so I'll ask you about him. He's your number one prospect on your top 50 big board. No surprise there, of course. What makes him unique even to the Champ Baileys, the Deion Sanders, that, we've seen this kind of greatness before, right? But what makes him stand apart a little bit?
All of those guys, Charles Woodson and all these guys that have done two positions, majored in one and minored in another. And there was just usually majored on defense and then minored in some special personnel group situation on the offensive side of the ball. This guy is in the top 1 or 2 corners in the draft, and he's in the top 1 or 2 wide receivers in the draft. He is fully both positions, which is mind blowing. It's hard to put into context when people are like, well, why him over Abdul Carter? And it's like, well, he's 2 players. Number one, let's start with that. I think that he's going to play both. Okay. I think he's going to succeed on both sides of the ball. I think that one of the largest conversations and debates going on within those teams that are selecting up there in the top 5 is there is a giant argument and case being made by the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball for like why Travis should be on their side of the ball. And so it's going to be incredibly interesting for me to see an NFL organization and what they actually decide to do with him, because I firmly believe that he should be on both sides, and I've heard both takes. So let me give you my take, and then let me give you one other take. My take is that you make him a corner, and then you make him your number 3 wide receiver, because your number 3 wide receiver is a starter. He's fully in the game plan, and yet you're going to limit his snaps just based on personnel group and game situation, probably to about 25 to 35. Therefore, you can play the 60 to 65 snaps of defense. You can play the 30 to 35 snaps of offense, and you're sitting there under 100 snaps for the majority of your time, which is, he averaged almost 120, 125 in college. So he can do that even at the NFL level. Or there's this line of thinking that you make him fully a wide receiver because of what he can provide, maybe a young quarterback like Drake May. And then you make him kind of a dime nickel box player who thrives as an instinct player in the middle of the field, and you utilize his ball skills similar to like a Mikey Sainristil coming out of Michigan last year. I've heard both of those.
As a man who loves history like you, and as a fan who wants to see the optimization of a player like this, I'm looking right now at your amazing mock draft 2.0. Everybody go check it out with the great Joel Klatt. You have him going to the Browns. I'm not to slam the Browns. Will they use him? It makes me want him to go to Dable a little bit. I don't know. I sort of think that they might.
Or New England. Vrabel, I think, would be interesting.
There's no way he's making it to 4, right? There's no way.
Maybe. Oh, again, I think it depends on these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you hearing this? Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
If Cleveland panics a little bit, like let's say Cam Ward goes number 1, and let's say Cleveland or New York select Shedeur. Do you take Abdul Carter or do you take Travis Hunter? So I think that there's a chance that he could slip to New England.
What a day for them if that happens. Him and Christian Gonzalez, get out of here.
I know.
Daniel Jeremiah told me that if Travis and Abdul do not make it to 4, that he was like adamant that the Patriots need to move down. But now I'm hearing rumors about like Jalen Walker at 4 to the Patriots. If Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are off the board by the time the Patriots pick at 4, what should they do?
Gosh, Will Campbell would be interesting to try to protect Drake May, the tackle.
Yes.
Moving down is not bad. It really isn't, and that fits in the New England MO. I know that was more of a Belichick MO, but that would certainly fit the New England MO, because there are tackles that you could take later.
Right. Like, are you reaching for Campbell is the question, right? Like, why?
Probably.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, that's a very good thought exercise, and I would suggest a move down at that point.
The Athletic was reporting, I'm sure you've heard, that there's like I think the words were real chatter, which is funny. Real chatter, I think among scouts, that Jackson Dart, the Ole Miss quarterback, could go before Shedeur. What do you make of that real chatter?
I respectfully disagree with that real chatter, and I would categorize it as fake chatter. There is a decent gap between the top 2 quarterbacks and then where Jackson Dart is. Not to take anything away from Jackson Dart. I really love him as a leader. I love he's going to succeed in the National Football League. I truly believe that. But it's way harder to project him because of his offense. Again, scripted winners, quick throws. Very few times is he asked to just sit there and control the game from the pocket. And granted, I'll give you this, that's most college quarterbacks, but that's certainly the case in a Lane Kiffin offense, which is why Lane can sit there with his hands up and be like, oh, touchdown. He knows where the ball is going. There's a lot of pre-snap decisions that are made by the quarterback, which is going to present a steeper learning curve for Jackson as he enters the league. Good player, really good player. I would love him on my team if I was a fan of any team in the National Football League, but there is a gap between him and the top two quarterbacks.
What do you make of his running ability? I feel like everyone, whenever I bring him up, talks about that as a huge plus for him.
It is. I think it's a plus in the sense that maybe you can, one or two times a game escape for a first down. I don't think you're not going to design anything around Jackson Dart's running ability. I think it's a plus. Shedeur is not very fleet of foot, although he can manipulate the pocket. I would say the same about Cam Ward. Jackson can move a little bit, there's no doubt, but it's nothing like a Jaden or a Caleb or these guys that have come out in the last few years, or a Jalen Hurts, Is
he a first-round guy? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. If he is, I think it's because either Cleveland or New York get forced into a situation where they've got to jump into the late first round to get them. That's where I've got him going. One of those picks right there in the opening of the second round.
You have him as the 32nd ranked prospect. When are we getting 3.0, Joel? Quit watching the Masters.
3.0 a week from today. I know. Draft week. I've got it coming out a week from today. Yes.
And would you update it based on because it's interesting that you right away shot that down, like the dart thing, that's why I love talking to you, because you sift through what's real and what's not. What is it how big of a difference? What will change most, do you think, from 2.0 to 3.0?
Remains to be seen. There are about 5 to 7 individuals that I know are not going to give me smoke. And then everybody else, I know that there's a percentage of smoke that I'm getting and smoke screen when doing this process. So those conversations will influence. My suspicion is going to be that I will end up moving Shedeur down.
Okay.
Probably New Orleans is what my final projection will be.
I love that for New Orleans. Get yourself your franchise quarterback. And it's not, as far as division is concerned. And also they won't sign Aaron Rodgers. I'm not convinced that the Steelers aren't still meddling in that. So it'd give him a chance to start right away. Those are reasons that if I was in the Shedeur camp, I would enjoy being at 9. I talked to him about how important the number 1 pick is to him. I don't think he has a relationship with the glamour or sexiness of it. Not that I can tell from talking to him. I think 9 would be, Steelers would be amazing. But then you also are dealing with the potential of an Aaron there and a tough division.
I also, I think that maybe I'm wrong in this, but Kay, I think players are more savvy now, and they realize that the second and third contract are more important than being the number 1 pick.
Especially him. He gets it, yeah.
Especially him. He understands, that this is more the long game than it is the short run. So, and maybe in the back of his mind, he's thinking to himself, boy, I'd rather be at an organization like Pittsburgh, who has been sustained success over really the generations. And maybe he would rather be with an offensive-minded coach like Kellen at the beginning of that tenure versus let's face it, New York, I hate to say this, but are we sure that regime is going to be there?
Ooh. I don't. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Not if they keep
from his perspective. I'm saying from his perspective, right?
Right.
So.
Interesting. Not. Dable took this team to the playoffs. It wasn't forever ago.
Sure.
But then some of the decision making. I mean, the Saquon of it all. Like that's
Oh my
certainly. I don't know
gosh.
how much grace is being given. I mean, I think that totally matters. That totally matters, and that's why I would, you take a Travis Hunter that sort of does that heal that wound a little bit for that fan base, for Mr. Mara, the sexiness of that to find your sort of face. It
Who
might.
knows?
It might.
could.
I love that.
Could.
Who's the next? Speaking receivers, last one for you. Travis Hunter, we get it. He's going quick. He's your number one prospect. He'll go off the board. Who's the second receiver off the board? Why can I not find the clear answer to this?
I think it's going to be Tedero McMillan, the big wide receiver from Arizona, partly because like big frame players win in the playoffs, and you got to have guys that can win the one-on-one. And I would argue no one did that better than McMillan from the wide receiver perspective. And yet I will just tell you, my favorite player in the draft, period, is a wide receiver, and it's Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. Partly because, listen, this is the bias of being around him, and he is one of the great individuals I've ever covered in college football. I am rooting for him like I root for very few people in life. He's got a strong faith. He's an incredibly strong leader, and he comes from that wide receiver room, which, as you and I both know, everybody succeeds from, because Brian Hartline is so good. Won't shock me if he's the second wide receiver, but he's got a guy that I would have kicked myself if I didn't mention on this show, because I really love him so much. And again, if your team says the name Emeka Egbuka, you're going to love him, and he's going to contribute.
Really well said. We're going to get all this stuff out all over Twitter. But again, you can watch the Joel Klatt show. I don't even know what time you woke up to do. Like, I was like, he put out a show this morning already? Like, what? I haven't even had my coffee yet. But it's such an enjoyable listen. And you get all of this information. And if you are curious, everybody, about what really is the story of the day in the NCAA is Nico and what this precedent means. Please go listen to the Joel Klatt show, because you lay it out beautifully on both sides, and hopefully we get smarter and use it as a precedent to just have rules, as you said, which I love. And we'll see you hopefully in Green Bay in a month. We will be there. You'll be there. Yep. You'll be very busy, of course, hanging out with Daniel Jeremiah, chopping it up with Rich Eisen, complaining about the Jets and whoever they pick, and of course the fantastic and lovely Charles Davis. So we cannot wait to see you, and thank you so much for all you do. I mean, UFL is crazy that you're crushing that. I love it.
Yep. It's a busy spring. There's no doubt. And I know you got Malachi Starks coming up.
Yes.
What a phenomenal player he is. Listen, it's very rare that a guy can roll in as a freshman and just start for Kirby Smart because of the intricacies of that defense. Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, you put them in the same camp in that respect. And Malachi started something like 42 games, so like right away as a true freshman, has been an All-American since he stepped foot on campus,
Let's
leader.
Go.
Like I love, like, Malachi is a great player. I really like Malachi Starks.
Colorado record-setting quarterback, Fox Sports lead college football analyst, UFL analyst, and hype man of all college prospects, which we love, including Malachi Starks. Could not have said it better. We will be back after this. Thank you for the time. I know you're busy. Good luck on your next mock draft, and we'll see you next week, which is crazy. Crazy to think about. Oh my gosh. I keep saying like in a month, Hamilton. Like, no, it's like literally next week.
Yeah,
like,
next
what?
week. We're like 10 days away.
Are we going to have a chat about this at some point, this draft? Or we going to have a middle of the week? Okay, great. Are we going? We are.
Yeah.
We are going.
We're going. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I haven't heard much about the old draft. What I need to do is find, I got to weasel a little bit. I don't weasel often, as you know that. I need some help.
Yeah.
I got 2 nephews. I'm gonna wear one of those like trench coats and like hide them under it so they can like come with me everywhere. I don't even know if I have any access. I need to figure that out this week.
Definitely.
They gotta come. You know me, I usually like to
them
sit
being
in
right
bed
down the road, it has to happen.
like to sit in bed and eat soup and watch the draft on a television at home in the hotel after. That's my usual vibe. But I think I'm going to be out there in the masses.
You have to do it. This is
think
the
I'm
year.
gonna. For them, yeah. Little cuties. They're like Dame Lillard jerseys. They're so freaking cute. I love my nephews. What else was I going to say? Oh, programming note. We're going to have Brashard
Yes.
Smith on next week. And it's a very good reason that we rescheduled him. We went a little long with Joel. He was on a phone call. That's all I'm going to say. He had an important call to take.
It's that time of year.
That time of year. And I'm happy for him. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if Malachi heard the glowing praise. Oh, we should definitely get that out on Twitter. Like we were saying bye. I don't want Malachi. Malachi, I don't know if can you hear me at least. I don't want to bring him on yet, but let him know that I was trying to wrap up with the lead college analyst for Fox, who will be on the NFL Network set draft night, and he squeezed praise in there. He said, "No, we're not stopping and going to break. I need to tell you how great this guy is." I loved that.
Yeah, that was pretty special. And to his point about, Malachi starting right out of the gates, we'll get into it, his first career game, he picks off Bo Nix. First time out in football field. At the
Why wouldn't Joel Klatt say Dan Lanning's name?
Maybe he doesn't want to stir up drama. I don't know.
Because it's just a rumor. And if he goes to Oregon, then that's weird, because that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. Just so everyone knows, I don't know anything about. Okay. All right, let's go. Joined now by two-time All-American, national champion, top safety in this 2025 NFL draft class. And Joel Klatt of Fox Sports, your biggest fan until I am after meeting you. Malachi Starks, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so great. Can you believe this is next week? I can't even believe it.
It's crazy.
What's it been like? If you could describe the process of like the last 2 months, let's say, in one word, what would you describe it as?
A huge blessing.
I like this positivity. Happy engagement, buddy. This is big news. I think we have some photos of you in beautiful Savannah. Congratulations. Here's what I want to know. I want to know, what is the one thing, I know you're focused on the draft. You're focused on this huge blessing, Malachi. What is the one thing you really care about in the wedding? I feel like men always have this one thing they're really passionate about. What needs to be part of the wedding that you care about?
I just need one Rod Wave song somewhere in the wedding. That's all.
You need what? Oh, a Rod Wave song, but like not like your wedding song?
No, just any Rod Wave song thrown in the wedding. Don't matter when, as long as there's one in there.
Okay, can Rod Wave perform? Can we get this out into the universe?
That would be like the best present ever.
Okay, Roddy, let's do this. let's talk about. Well, congratulations on all of that. Let's get to know you a little bit. NFL fans will watch this and know who to be rooting for on draft night, and then to start your career. In your time at Georgia, my friend, you had two of the wildest, best interceptions I've ever seen. I'm not exaggerating here. We literally, in the morning meeting, we could not pick which one. So I'm going to let you choose. Do you want to talk through the Bo Nix one in your first freaking career game, or the one against Clemson last year?
Let's talk through the first one. My freshman year.
Okay, here it is. The way you cut off the angle on this receiver. Talk me through this.
Yeah, so we're in mod. So I literally just got in. This is like my fourth play in the game. I'm pretty sure. But I'm nervous. I just got in. This was a big concept for them, so I kind of knew it was coming. So my biggest thing is I wanted to get in face. So once I boxed them out, I wanted to look and lean and locate. And as I'm leaning, I'm falling. So like in my mind, I'm like, I'm about to fall. He's gonna catch it.
Yeah.
I'm a little stupid on that.
Crazy.
But no, it worked out perfectly. Looked and leaned, and I jumped at the last second possible, really. And it's just something that I've been working on for a long time. It was really a good moment for me and the team.
Oh, you were working on that. You were working on a 360 spin, locating the ball, but going full extension to snag that. You practiced that?
Something similar.
Malachi, I don't know that I can name a wide receiver that can make that catch. I don't I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. I liked it so much that we're going to do something we've never done on the show before. We're going to give you the bonus and show you the other one. Okay. I want you to look at the one from Clemson. You are playing man coverage better than most corners here. The body control. Talk me through it.
Yeah, so really just the same thing. When you get downfield, it's really just about being in phase or out of phase. Once I realized I could cut off the angle and I'm at his hip, I realized I can look and lean and really, once the ball's in the air, you just turn into a wide receiver. So it's about who can go high point at the best. And it's just being able to, keep control of the ball as I'm going to the ground.
You know who you remind me of there? I hope you're not mad about this. I don't think you will. You know who you remind me of? Who do you remind you of there?
Who?
NFL receiver. A little Justin Jefferson-y, don't you think?
That's
no? Let me see that again.
I'll take it. If I can get
Am
it,
I wrong? Let's take a look. I don't know. I think it's you twist in the air. I don't know. You look like Justin Jefferson making that grab. I heard you had a bit of, I'm going to pretend you're laughing because you had a great Vikings visit. How did that go?
It went good. Between the meetings in the 30s, I've met with almost every team. But it's been really nice just being able to meet the GMs, the head coaches, the coaching staff, even the people, who cook the food, just being able to meet all these different people, and see what they do and what they contribute to each organization has been really a really big blessing for me.
The people who cook the food are key, aren't they? They're so important.
Yeah, they are.
That'll be every day. What is the meal that you would eat most often in your new NFL home?
I love a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. Like I can eat it for lunch, breakfast, and dinner.
Let's go. I love that you knew that answer right away.
Yeah,
those two plays, let's go back to those. I mean, maybe the two best plays of your career both came, interestingly enough, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. What do you think of that?
It was kind of weird. Everybody had asked me if I had planned it out, and I told them that wasn't possible. But I mean, it's just crazy. It was literally just on the other sideline. My freshman year was on the left. That one was on the right, around the same area. So it was just, it was kind of cool. It was really cool for me.
I know. I feel like those two plays need to be like, we're going to clip them off and maybe I'll at the Falcons. That is, your hometown team. Maybe they should be thinking about that at 15, huh? Would you like that?
I like anything.
Their new defensive coordinator, Coach Jeff, said that you are the safest prospect in this draft. Why does he say that? What does that mean to you?
To me, I think it just goes with all the hard work that I've put in, but also how I carry myself, off the field as well. I think that's, you could say even bigger than what you do on the field, just how you carry yourself off the field. And that goes to the people I have, the support system I have around me, just the people that keep me humble on a day in and day out basis. So I think that says a lot about what he said.
You and Jesse Bates.
Jesse's different. That's just, yeah.
I don't know. He reminds me of you a little bit, no?
Yeah. I see a little bit in there.
That would be fun. I just like reading your facial expressions in this huge blessing of this journey. So you're called a safe safety by one team, and then your coach, Kirby Smart, calls you a futuristic safety. What does he mean by that?
I think just the way I'm able to play the game. I think just my versatility and the way I'm able to move around and the way I'm able to be placed in any defense and put in any position and be able to produce. I think that says a lot about, just my style and how I play my game, but also, how he used me at the University of Georgia. And I think, when you click on the tape, you'll see that for sure.
I think you're going top 10. I don't think you last at the Falcons at 15. That's what I think. We're going to take a TV break. We're going to talk through it because we're live on YouTube getting this content out to your new NFL fans after this. Okay, everyone raves, my friend, about how you can do it all. You can play deep safety, lil nickel, corner. You are a leader. You've got the ball skills. You can tackle. What do you think is the one thing that you'd gold medal in? What's the thing you do best?
I think being able to high point the ball, I think a lot of DBs kind of lack in that area. So just being able to put myself in that position and being able to, just be comfortable in that position without panicking, being able to come down with the ball is huge.
I like that you had to sigh when I asked it because you're like, oh, what do I do best? I don't know. I'm so good at so many things. Like that sigh was great. I really like how you're able to like making quarterbacks look silly is fun, right? So like, I think your ability to sort of bait quarterbacks into throws and then you make plays on the ball, it reminds me of like, I'm sorry to keep giving you comps, but in the NFL, like this year, Kirby Joseph, he was just on one of just like, I'm going to make you look silly. And then the next week, I'm going to make you look silly. It kind of reminds me of that. I really have enjoyed looking at those highlights. And I like your interviews too, because, you say that you're a former Bulldog and Pro Football Hall of Famer Champ Bailey, that, a big fan of yours, you're a fan of his. How did that connection start?
Yeah, so I knew Champ since I was little. Honestly, so his nephew is like my brother. We're best friends, and
Okay.
I got to meet him at a very young age, and he came to like to all my games and stuff. So just being able to kind of connect with him, and at a young age, and then kind of keep that relationship going till now. He's like an uncle to me, and it's great to have him.
Is that why you were 24?
No, actually, so my cousin, he had passed away when I was 7. He was 9. And he started
wow.
playing for me. He's actually in this back picture. He started playing football because of me. He switched to 24, and I switched out of it. And then when he passed away, I switched back to it, and I've just kind of been wearing it ever since.
When you get drafted, how soon will you think of him?
Immediately. I got a little pin I'm gonna wear on my suit for him. Because this is our journey as well. It's not just mine; it's me and his. He's living through me, and I'm living through him. So it's like I said, it's a huge blessing.
That's really beautiful. You say you're wearing a suit. Does that mean you're going to the draft?
Yes, ma'am. I will be there.
Yay! You are? I couldn't find the info. I'm so glad you're going.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're wearing a suit. You already have that figured out. Who do you want to pick off in the NFL? Let's manifest that. Bo Nix is off the list.
Jared Goff.
What, really? Why?
I've just talking to some of my teammates that used to play here who are in the league now. He's like an elite of the league quarterback. So just being able to, add that to my resume and some of the guys, the way they talk about him, I mean, that'd be cool.
Incoming NFL safety Malachi Starks back on the show on Up and Adams this morning saying he wants to sack poor Jared Goff. I mean, he hates to see you coming. I can't wait to hear that. I know the Raiders hosted you for a pre-draft visit. We have like a minute left in the show. I know Brock Bowers would love to see you on his side. Is it true that you used to line up against him in practice?
Yeah, me and Brock used to go at it all the time.
Okay. Raiders have the 6th pick. You got a lot of options. Enjoy the blessing, and we'll see you in Green Bay. Congrats to you.
Thank you so much.
I like your energy. I like everything about you. I'm a fan. Take that, Joe Klatt. I'm taking your spot. We'll be back tomorrow.